Good evening. It's Friday the 25th of November and it's time for the news on RIK2. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan warned that Turkey could open its gates for migrants to Europe if pushed into a corner by the European Union, a day after European lawmakers voted for a temporary halt to EU membership talks with Ankara. Members of the European Parliament voted for a non-binding motion yesterday urging the European Commission and national governments to institute what they acknowledged would be a largely symbolic freeze in negotiations. Brussels has been treading a delicate line with Turkey. Despite its increased concerns over human rights and press freedoms, it needs Turkish cooperation to keep down the number of refugees and migrants reaching Europe from its shores. If you go any further, these border gates will be opened. Neither me nor my people will be affected by these empty threats, Erdogan told a Congress on women's justice in Istanbul in reaction to yesterday's vote. It wouldn't matter if all of you approved the European Parliament vote, he said, in comments broadcast live. More than 1.3 million people arrived in Europe last year, triggering bitter disputes between EU member states over how to handle them. Turkey says it is home to the world's largest refugee population, housing some 2.7 million Syrians and 300,000 Iraqis. EU governments are unlikely to take heed of the European Parliament vote. Austria has led calls to stop Turkey's membership talks, but Germany, France and most other EU states, for now, back continued engagement and fear putting at risk Erdogan's collaboration on migration. A suicide truck bomb killed about 100 people, most of them Iranian Shiite pilgrims, at a petrol station in the city of Hilla, 100 kilometers south of Baghdad. Islamic State, the ultra-hardline Sunni militant group that considers all Shiites to be apostates, claimed responsibility for the attack in an online statement. The group also is fighting off a US-backed offensive on its stronghold Mosul in northern Iraq, in which Iranian-trained Shiite militias are taking part. The pilgrims were en route back to Iran from the Iraqi Shiite holy city of Karbala, where they had commemorated Arbaeen, the 40th day of mourning for the killing of Imam Hussein, a grandson of the Prophet Muhammad. The gas station has a restaurant on its premises that is popular with travellers. 5 pilgrim buses were set afire by the blast from the explosives-laden truck. In recent months, Islamic State has intensified attacks in areas out of its control in efforts to weaken the offensive launched on October the 17th to retake Mosul, the last major Iraqi city under Islamic State control. Israeli police arrested 13 people on suspicion of arson after massive wildfires tore through central and northern Israel, a conflagration that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu branded as terrorism. Firefighters kept battling the flames in wooded hills around Jerusalem and in northern areas, with support from Palestinian firemen and emergency teams from Greece, Cyprus, Croatia, Italy, Russia and Turkey. Netanyahu said he had also accepted offers of help from Egypt and Jordan. Unseasonably dry weather and easterly winds helped kindle the fires, which erupted on Tuesday and now stretch across half the country. Arson appeared to be behind some of the blazes, Netanyahu said. A price will be paid for this arson terrorism, he told reporters. Internal Security Minister Gilad Erdan said those arrested were minorities, an allusion to either Arab Israeli citizens or Palestinians. The fires are the biggest in the country since 2010, when 44 people were killed in a massive blaze in the north. Investigators concluded that the fire was caused by negligence. At least 36 people were killed and 95 injured when 2 Iranian passenger trains collided near the city of Sharud, about 400 kilometers east of Tehran. The death toll was likely to rise. It was not clear how many passengers had been on the trains, but 100 had been rescued. A train entering the Haft-Khan station on the outskirts of Sharud appeared to have hit one that was waiting there. The remote location of the crash had slowed rescue efforts. Iran's railway network has aged badly under international economic sanctions that were imposed over Tehran's disputed nuclear program. Pilots at Lufthansa threatened to extend their latest strike in a long-running pay dispute with the German airline, raising pressure on management and leaving passengers fearing a fresh disruption. The walkout, the 14th since early 2014, began on Wednesday and has already grounded some 2,600 planes and affected more than 315,000 passengers. Lufthansa has said the disruption has started to hit medium-term bookings. The airline said it would cancel a further 137 flights, around 5% of its schedule, including 88 intercontinental flights. Some short and medium-haul flights would also be affected, it said. Lufthansa urged the union to enter arbitration, but the union said it wants to see a better offer first. The union wants an average annual pay increase of 3.7% for 5,400 pilots in Germany over a 5-year period from 2012. Lufthansa has offered 2.5% over 6 years to 2019. Now for the weather forecast. Mostly clear skies are expected tomorrow. Winds will be light to moderate, northeasterly to southeasterly, force 3 to 4. The sea will be generally slight. Temperatures will reach 21 Celsius inland, 22 in coastal areas, and 10 over the mountains. The fire hazard is very high in all forest areas. That's all from us here. Join us tomorrow for more news in English. Have a very good evening.